Hi guys, how you doing today? Today I want to talk to you about abortion. The reason why I want to talk about that topic is because, you know, for those of you that live in the United States, right now there's this big debate going on. We had a Supreme Court justice. Her name is Ruth Bader Ginsburg that passed away. So now they're trying to replace her. And one of the biggest topic, I guess one of the biggest fight over her, over her replacement, is because of abortion, right? And they call it women's rights, women's reproductive rights. So this is a big deal here in the United States. And to those of you who's living in different countries, I'm just trying to explain to you how, what's going on, in the U.S. So we have nine Supreme Court justices in the United States, and the Supreme Court is the top court of the land. So we have three different branches of government. We have executive, which is the president, and we have legislative, that's Congress. In some countries, that would be like your parliament, and then we have the judicial branch, which is like your courts. And when it comes to the judicial branch, the Supreme Court is the highest court in the land in the United States. So what's going on? So we have nine members in the Supreme Court, and out of those nine members, five of them they lean conservative, right? So they're more like Republican, and like Republican are more like they against abortion, they against same-sex marriage. They support limited government. So it's a different ideology from like your progressive, your liberal. So they limited government. They are pro business. They are like you have to pick yourself up by the bootstrap, and they are so those are the Republican ideology, right? So when it comes to the progressive or the Democrats believe that government needs to help the vulnerable. The government needs to help those who are less fortunate. So they believe in a lot of safety net programs like food stamps, something help you buy food if you're unable to get food. They support healthcare. They think healthcare is a fundamental right. As U.S. citizens, we should be entitled to those things. So the Democrats and the progressive also believe in, they support same-sex marriage. That's mean two men and two women could get married. They also support abortion rights, meaning that they support reproductive rights, like they say, women's right. So if a woman chooses to terminate pregnancy, she can't do it. So that's what the Democrats support. Okay, so the nine members of the Supreme Court, like I said before, the four of them are more like Democratic, progressive, because they were appointed by Democratic president. I think the last president, Barack Obama, he appointed, I think, two of them. I think it's Sotomayor and Elena Kagan. So those were appointed by Barack Obama, a Democratic president. Obama was president for 8 years, and then before Obama, and then you had President Clinton. I think he appointed two. I'm not. Yeah, I think he appointed two. I think one of them retired, and then so now, to make the story short, so now there's eight of them now, right? Because one passed away, but the court leaned conservative. So I would say there's about five of them who lean Republican, because President Donald Trump he appointed two of them. One of them is his name is Gorsuch, and the other one his name is Kavanaugh. Right, so they're both Republican. They both are conservative, And then and then you have Roberts, and you have Alito, and then you have Thomas. All right. So now President Trump, he wants to appoint a conservative to the court. I mean, obviously he's a Republican, so he's gonna appoint a conservative to the court, and he has every right to do that. He's entitled to do that because he was elected. I mean, election have consequences. You cannot tell the Democrats now fighting, to try to stop that, but you cannot stop that because it's not. He's elected and he's in power. The Republican control the Senate and they control the presidency. They control the White House. So they are entitled to, and they should be allowed to appoint whoever they choose to, because that's how it works in a democracy. In a democracy, the minority, they don't get to decide, what who they want to be appointed to the Supreme Court. Okay, so with that being said, let me give you a little background on why the reason there's going to be a big fight over this Roe versus Wade situation. I mean, they talk about healthcare, but the main reason is abortion. That's the real fight. That's why they're gonna, because the fight against abortion, that fight been waging on since 1973, ever since the Supreme Court decided that. So in 1973, the Supreme Court, it was a landmark decision. It says that the Constitution of the United States protects a pregnant woman's liberty to choose to have an abortion without excessive government restriction. So what that means is that the government cannot infringe on the right of a woman to have an abortion. Okay? So that was in 1973. Ever since 1973, the war on abortion has been waging on. So you have one side is conservative, mostly evangelical Christian. I will say as far as like demographics, I'll say predominantly white Caucasian, but you have a lot of African American who's against abortion too. So there's a especially like your Hispanics, with the Catholic Church. A lot of Hispanics are Catholic, so a lot of Hispanics are against abortion too. So that's like I said, that's the key. That's the key fight. That's the main reason why all this stuff is going on. So with abortion, so once the Supreme Court, um, came up, had that landmark decision. So both sides trying to get people in power to uphold or to that support their ideology. So the Democrats put Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She supported women's rights. She's pro-abortion. And the Republican, every time a Republican president comes elected president, they always trying to find, if they get a chance to put somebody on the Supreme Court, it's always somebody who's very conservative, and it's always somebody who's against abortion. So with this, Donald Trump appointed, I think her name is Barrett. I have to look this up. Yeah, I think. Let me look it up 1 second. But I think her name is. I just want to make sure I give you guys the correct name, not to misspell her name. Actually, yeah, it's Amy Coney Barrett. Amy Coney Barrett. So Amy Coney Barrett is very conservative. I mean, she's actually, she's Catholic. I think she is Catholic, but she's also she's married. She has about 7 children. She adopted, I think, 2 of them from Haiti, and she was on the U.S. Courts of Appeals for the Seventh Circuit. So Donald Trump appointed her to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Seventh Circuit, and she is very intelligent. I mean, that's a very smart woman. So, credential wise, she has the credentials to be on the Supreme Court. So, nobody's arguing, you know, over her credentials. I mean, everybody who's been nominated to the Supreme Court, they have all the credentials. Most of them, graduate from Yale, Harvard, or whatever. I mean, even if they went to Harvard or Yale, but they have everything that they need to be qualified to be a judge. So it's never about credentials, it's always about ideology. Ideology in America is a big deal. Um, you know, it's just like any country you go to. The left and the right is always there's always tension, there's always friction between the left and the right. And America is no difference. America is no difference. So it's it's interesting. It's an interesting thing to watch what's unfolding with this lady, with Miss Barrett. And my personal point of view, I don't, I'm very. If you guys listen to this podcast, you're gonna hear my views on abortion. I am 100% against it. I mean, I've been against abortion since I was 16, 15 years old. Ever since I can remember, I never support abortion. Abortion is completely evil. It's completely evil. There's no reason, there's no good reason for an abortion. That's the reason why they have adoption. There are women there are people there are families out there, there are couples out there that wants to start a family, but they can't, because, whatever reason, maybe, but they would be happy to adopt a kid, they'd be happy to adopt a child. So to have a child and to abort it, and then when those abortion happen, is usually selfish reason. Selfish reason. There is no good reason for an abortion. It's oh, I'm not ready to have a child right now. You know, I have my career. I want to finish college. I want to do this. I want to do that. It's always about me. You know, it's always about me. You know, it's never about the child. Well, I mean, if you don't want to, you know, if you don't want to have a child, if you don't want to go to college, you want to go to college, you want to finish college, you have your career, you don't want to have a child. Why did you choose to have sex outside of marriage? Why are you having sex with no protection? Why are you being irresponsible? So now, because you are irresponsible, so now the child somebody have to pay with their life, right? Okay. So now the child have to pay with her life, with their life, because the mother chose to be irresponsible. She chose to be irresponsible. I mean, no one told her to sleep around, you know. And now it's wicked, it's evil, it's just to show you the kind of character that person have. Just to tell you that's the character. You know, that's not the kind of person that you want as a spouse. You want, because they don't have good character. They don't have good morals. I understand if the woman is 16, 17 years old, a kid, she doesn't know any better. But when you're like 35 years old, you're 25 years old, you're still having an abortion. It's the whole thing is kind of sad and pathetic. Yeah, it's sad and pathetic, 35 years old having an abortion. But, not to be judgmental, not to be so mean and cruel and sound cruel and mean, but it just, when it comes to evil, when it comes to selfishness. Those are two things. Those are my pet peeves. Those things get me. It gets my blood boil. Selfish people. And people who only think about themselves. Those things really get me upset. But we cannot, us as believers, as followers of our Savior, we have to, show grace, show mercy to them. But at the same time, we have to call them out. We have to call out evil. We have to call out sin. We cannot treat them with kid gloves. We cannot treat evil with kid gloves. Abortion is evil. Let me explain to you how evil abortion is. Since 1973, in the United States, right? The population in the United States. I'm gonna tell you the population in the United States. The U.S. population. Let me look it up 1 second. Yeah, I think the U.S. population is 331 million people, right? So 331 million people. Okay, because of since 1973. Okay, so we have 331 million people. The U.S. population should have been 391 million people, right? So we lost about 61,628,584 babies, people that have been aborted since 1973. So we lost so we short 61 million people because of abortion. Okay, so just imagine, actually it's really more than that, because when you think about it, right? So if it's 61 million people we lost because of an abortion, it's actually a lot higher than that, because those 61 million people, okay, they will have children, grandchildren, okay, and most of them probably have like maybe like 2 or 3 kids. So let me see the average. Okay, so I'm gonna look this up. The average American family, right? Household. I mean, the average American family. Let me see. Okay, yeah. So it consists of 3 people, right? Yeah. So it's yeah. So two. Yeah. So it's about 2.5 kids. That's what it says. So about 2 kids, right? The average American family have about 2 kids, right? Okay. So now, if so they have 2 kids. So now that's 61 million babies that's been aborted. Okay. If she aborted 61 million babies, um, if they had 2 kids themselves, so that's like, actually the number is more than that. So actually, the U.S. population is probably like, if you do the math, if each baby that was born had 2 kids, so that's a total of 180 million. I'm just doing the math on top of my head. Okay, that's only they had just 2 kids. You know, each baby that was aborted, each of those 61 million babies that was aborted. Imagine if each of them had 2 kids, right? So you do the math. So each had 2 kids. So that would be, so let me see, 61 had, so that's about, 180 million babies, 180 million people that have been aborted, because that one abortion is equivalent to 180 million. That 61 million abortion is equivalent to 180 million people that have been aborted. See what happened? That's the consequences of evil. That's abortion is pure evil, and that's the result of that. You know, that's the result. You know, so we lost about 180 million people since 1973. If you want to do the math, okay, and three. So we'll have been about 331 million. So we'll have been about see 400. So we've been about 500 and maybe 11 million people right now. You know, so I mean, just like if you take a gun, you shoot somebody, kill that person. You didn't just kill one person; you kill a whole generation of people. And because that one person you kill will have children, their children will have children. So one person you kill is a whole generation. One baby you aborted is a whole generation of people. You know, so abortion is worse than the Holocaust. I think when I was looking at the Holocaust, I think about 6 million people. This is 6 million Jews, but I mean, to be fair, we have to talk about we have to talk about the Hitler didn't just kill. He killed 6 million Jews, but what about the Jehovah's Witnesses, the homosexuals, the communists? All these people that were murdered. So we cannot just exclude those people out and just talk about the Jews. We have to talk about everybody. Every life matters. Everybody's life on this earth is precious, unless you forfeit your life if you murder somebody else, if you kill somebody else. If you kill somebody, then you forfeit your life, because in the Old Testament, God used to command, the Israelites, to put people to death for certain things they do. So you could be against abortion and support the death penalty. That's consistent with the Bible because God commended the death penalty in the Old Testament. And a state like Texas that put people to death for their crime, that's completely in line with the Bible. So that's not inconsistent with the Bible. When you take somebody's life, you forfeit your own life, because you should not be taking people's lives. So somebody who committed an abortion, I'm not saying that. I mean, if they committed an abortion, if this was based on the Old Testament, that person would have been put to death because they're taking somebody's life. Okay? So I know this is a heavy subject. It's a heavy subject, but it's a subject that needs to be talked about. It's a subject that is just is pure evil, and the consequences. There's a lot of women that had an abortion. Some of them are crazy. Some of them lose their mind. Some of them have all kind of mental issues. Some of them are depressed. Some of them cannot have any more babies. Some of them are unable to have any more babies, and some of them are just devastated by that one abortion. That girl that I mentioned, she had that abortion. She was, she's not well. I mean, she's not all together. And her mother that took her to have that abortion, her mother was dead within 2 years. Her mother was dead within 2 years. You cannot keep doing evil in the sight of the Lord. The Lord is not going to let sin and evil go unpunished. Okay, He's very gracious. He's very merciful. He's kind. He's everything. But He hates sin. He hates rebellion. He will give you a time to repent. He will give you a time to turn away. If He don't, then you face spiritual death, then you face physical death, and then you face eternal death. You face three deaths. You know, spiritual death is when you separate from God, you don't have any fellowship with Him. Okay, physical death, we all gonna die. And eternal death, that's a total separation from your Creator for eternity. You guys don't want that. You guys don't want to be separate from your Creator. You know, you think this world is tough. Imagine being separate from your Creator forever. You know, but like I said, I had to address this topic because the Lord put it in my heart. I appreciate the time you guys take to listen to me. Pray for those pray for these women that wants to have an abortion. Pray that the Lord will change their heart and pray that the Lord will convict them and they will turn away and forsake their sins. Thank you guys and may the Lord bless you. Amen.